Hey there, and welcome back to the Mini Weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it, Minny. I really like that. What are we drinking tonight? Tonight we got our lemon sour from Spring Grove Soda. We did, I believe, their strawberry 3 weeks ago now. And I gotta say, I really like this. I didn't think I particularly was going to like it. It's not as sour and as tart as I originally thought it was going to be. We've had some sours and some stuff on the podcast before that are a little too tart for my liking, but this is really, really good. This one's a lot different, texture wise than strawberry, as it's like a lot lighter, which I think is huge for this one. It almost tastes more like a slightly tart lemonade. And it is fantastic. I might have to get like a 24 pack of just these. This is delicious. For those that weren't watching 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did this one, like I said, Spring Grove Soda Pop. It's located in Spring Grove, Minnesota. If you don't remember where it is, it's less than 10 minutes directly north from the Iowa border, or not directly, yeah, and then just essentially straight south about an hour from Winona. So for those of you that are down there in that area and that have been there, tell me of a couple cool things that are a good reason to otherwise go down there. I really would like to go down there sometime this summer, maybe in the fall, to check out this place. But I'd like to be able to make a couple more stops and not go all the way down there. I mean, Winona itself is like a 2 hour drive, 2.5 hour drive. And then, so 3.5 hours. I'd rather not have to make that long drive just for that. So it'd be really cool if we got some southern listeners in Minnesota that had some suggestions for me to also do down in that area. I was going to check them out. So I digress. I really like it. You can go onto their website, springgrovesodapop.com. And like I said, since the last time we kind of had these two minus strawberry and this one, they really have redone their website. And since last time too, it looks like they've added quite a bit of flavors. We still got quite a bit more to go to get to all of them. But yeah, I have to say, I believe I really like their black cherry. But I would say this one's right up there with the black cherry. It's probably one of my favorite ones. I really like that. It goes down really smooth. And see what they say. Ooh, it's a perfect drink for quenching your thirst on a hot summer day. Completely agree. This soda acts as a great drink mix with gin, vodka, or whiskey because there is just enough sweetness to take the bite out of the alcohol. That's probably what it is. It's not much necessarily. That's a great point of it. It's like a sweet tart. So I'm sure it's extra sweetness that's making it act tart. Excuse me. But like I said, I really like it. Go check them out, springgrovesodapop.com. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Gosh, I really like it. I'm gonna go 9. I really like it. So 9 it is. Go check them out. So with that, nothing really for the Tommy Town, but did want to give St. Thomas Athletics a bit of a shout out and the campus, as I was actually there this last weekend. My brother-in-law and I went there to check out the, what was it? It was the game 2 of the Tommies against the North Dakota State Bison and saw them win 3-1. In a pretty good game despite it being low scoring. The Tommies were able to get we saw a handful of hits. We out-hit them 7-4, but weirdly enough, I didn't realize this until actually looking at the box score before the podcast here. We gave up 2 errors to North Dakota State's none, which is a little shocking, but yeah, pitching was awesome. Like I said, it was a beautiful day for it, and it was a lot more packed than I anticipated it being. And for those that do not know, they're free. Now that the D1 probably not going to be free forever, so definitely go check them out. I'm definitely going to try taking the kiddo out to one of maybe these last couple games. Maybe not though. Excuse me. It does look like they're coming down to their final series this weekend before getting into the playoffs. Got a 3-game series against Northern Colorado, so good luck to them. But yeah, oh my gosh, the campus is still beautiful. It's been 2 years since I was on the campus for a football game, but really it's been probably 5 or 6 years since I was actually on the campus and walked around looking at stuff. The outside of the building for the basketball and hockey teams is already unbelievable. I'm sure they still have some work to do inside it. But yeah, really huge shout out to the University of St. Thomas for getting all of that, all of these renovations, all this kind of stuff. It was actually kind of funny. My brother and I were walking along South Campus, the south side of South Campus, and there were a row of houses that had these signs in them that's like just say no to St. Thomas's 5,500 seat arena or whatever. And my brother-in-law made a great point. He's like, you chose to live here. Like, it's not like St. Thomas has been there for such a long time. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into living there. And if you don't like it, sell your house to St. Thomas. They could use more real estate. So that's my pitch. How about St. Thomas? Get more space for all their stuff too. So if you want, reach out. Once again, we digress. But yeah, I thought we'd give a quick shout out to them. Campus looks beautiful. Can't wait to see what everything looks like once everything is done with the arena. So yeah, exciting times. And then, like always, want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at UNRL, wearing another one of their hats that we got in that bundle from them. This one is the UNRL Golf Primary Snapback Gray. Like I said, you got the little white rope down here. Super comfortable, like I mentioned a couple podcasts ago. Have these little pluses, crosses, whatever you want to call them, in them, and really kind of aerate the hat on the really nice days when there's just a little breeze. Really, the little breeze gets in there and is able to kind of pull your head down. But at the same time, when it's colder out, does a pretty good job of keeping your head warm too. So a huge shout out to them. Go check them out, unrl.com. You can find them all over social media as well. Tell them the mini weekend sent you. So yeah, next on the agenda, I got our mini weekend bets. So guys, we were at perfect 3 last week, bringing us to 7-3 in the first 3 weeks of bets for you guys, hitting at a 70% rate, which is unbelievable. And I got 4 more picks for you guys this week to bring you to 11-3 as we start to close out May. How insane is that? But yeah, anyways, like I said, we got 4 bets this week. Really quickly, just recapping. Last week we had Boston -5.5. They went on to beat the Knicks 115-93. We had the Jets money line. They went on to beat the Dallas Stars, and then we had the Wolves -4.5, who went on to win 102-97. Wasn't a pretty ending, but still got the dub. Bringing us, like I said, to our 7-3 all-time record. Well, I say all-time pretty lightly because we've been doing this for so little, but like I said, the road to 11-3. So my first bet I got for you guys is the Washington Capitals money line for Game 5 against the Carolina Hurricanes, and that is set at plus 140. For the hockey fans, I'm sure a lot of people go back and forth, and I would argue that in any sport, in your closeout game, there's more pressure on the team to close it out than there is for the team not closing it out, for starters. And secondly, they're playing at home. The Capitals are playing at home. One of the things I looked into for this is a power play improvement, and it's kind of going to be tricky for the Capitals because, again, this is a team that in the regular season thrives on the power play. The last 5 or 6 years they've been in the top 10, if not top 5 teams in the league on the power play because they got very good guys like Alexander Ovechkin, and they're able to get it done. However, once you get to the playoffs, you see less penalties, and if you're a team that was reliant on that during the regular season, you're not going to see that a lot. So they've got to find a way to draw some penalties that are going to get called and then going to take advantage of that. But the biggest thing for me, like I said, I think they haven't scored a ton these last couple of games, and I think they're due. I think Ovechkin isn't just going to take Ovechkin and his leadership. They're not just going to take this one laying down. They're going to give it their all. They're going to fight, claw back. It might not be a pretty game, but again, hockey is one of those sports that I really don't like betting the spread because on any given night, you could have the best team in the league playing the worst team in the league, and the best team in the league is going to win by 2 or 3, just like vice versa. So like I said, give me the Washington Capitals money line set at 140 to force a game 6. The second pick I have for you guys is the New York Knicks to cover the 2.5 point spread in Game 6 to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. Look, this series is a tough one. I'm gonna try not to dive too much into the series because we'll get into that a little bit later. But for this game specifically, I know there were a lot of people that thought with Jason Tatum out earlier tonight for Game 5 that tonight for game 5 that, oh my gosh, the Knicks are just going to win in 5 games. And I didn't think they were going to. This game was in Boston. And surprisingly enough, this team in the regular season was 8-2 without Jason Tatum. So there's a legitimate chance they could force a game 7. I don't see that happening. The New York Knicks are a very good team. They had a lot of careless mistakes in this game earlier tonight that kept them from advancing. But I really do like the New York Knicks to win game 6 minus 2.5 points. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a blowout, but Jalen Brunson is so good in the clutch. Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns have been big on the glass, and I think they're able to get it done in MSG, leaving Boston with a lot of questions coming into this offseason. So second pick, give me New York Knicks minus 2.5 in game 6 to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Third pick is another pick that's going to lead into another topic in a little bit here too. I think the Florida Panthers are going to win game 6 against the great Toronto Maple Leafs, going against what I originally thought was going to happen in this series. But I got them winning game 6 to advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm patiently awaiting the winner of the Carolina and Washington game. Is going to have to wait a couple more games because Washington will win. But I really like Florida in this one. Look, let's just keep this one simple. Toronto has not looked like Toronto. I know, very similar to like Washington. They're probably not going to take this one laying down. But this team just can't buy a goal right now. Bobrovsky is playing unbelievable hockey right now. They're showing off their strength, their depth, which is a crazy thing because I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, the freaking Toronto Maple Leafs have that too. They have. Florida has just come out guns a-blazing, and their depth has been showing up more. Just last night, Wednesday night game, they lost 4-0. So like I said, I think Florida's going to win. Sorry, money line minus 230 in this one. And this win is going to trigger a couple things that I believe will happen coming up in another segment in a little bit here. So give me Florida minus 230. And then our fourth pick we have for you guys. For those that don't know, the NFL announced their schedule earlier tonight. So with that, we're not going to dive through the schedule yet. But the fourth pick I have for you guys is a future bet. Right now, the Vikings win total in the 2025 season is set at 8.5 wins. And I like the over. I do. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, Jack, what the hell? Why? This is going to be a tough schedule, tough opponents, all that. And I get that. And again, we'll get into this a little bit more deeper. But the biggest reason I like the over in this is, look, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think the ceiling for this team is 8 and 9. But when I look at this schedule, the biggest and really the only question surrounding this team coming into the season is JJ McCarthy. And I think at the very least, he's going to be a serviceable quarterback who will be able to get the ball into the hands of his playmakers, which if he's able to do that, we should have no problem winning 8, 9, maybe 10 games. If he's any better than that, this team could win a ton of games. I think the biggest thing, sorry, I digress because I don't want to divulge too much into the schedule right now. But the biggest thing for me being confident in the over 8.5 games is, if you look at the schedule, one of the first things I look at when I look at schedules is away games. Now, technically, we only have 7 away games. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, the AFC has more. They have 9 home games this year. We really only have 7 because 2 of our away games are being played overseas, which I believe helps our case. So one of the first things I look at is away games. And if I look at the games that we're playing away, there's not a ton of teams that I'm like, oh my gosh, like we do terrible or they're really good there and we should do great. So like I said, I really, really, really like this team to win at the very least 9 games this season, but we'll get more into that later in the episode and later in later podcasts as well. So in summary, for our 4 wins this week for you guys, we got the Washington Capitals money line at plus 140, the New York Knicks spread minus 2.5 points, the Florida Panthers money line against the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 230, and then the Vikings over 8.5 wins for the 2025 season. That is what I have for you guys for our mini weekend bets this week, and wanted to give out one more shout out, before we get into playoffs and Vikings and everything like that. Putt Shack Edina. Go check them out. It's actually it's not in, it's attached to the Southdale Mall, or Southdale Center, in Edina, Minnesota. But it is super, super cool. Went there last night with my wife, my brother, and his girlfriend, and it was all four of us. It was our first time there, but it was a blast. So how it works is they have 4 9-hole mini golf courses, and they're really cool. You can make a reservation or you cannot make a reservation. Honestly, we made a reservation. I made a reservation for us last night because the person I talked to about it, they recommend making a reservation. You certainly can go in and walk in, but if they're busy, you're just gonna have to obviously wait, just like anything else. But last night it wasn't too bad. It was kind of busy for a Wednesday. But there was plenty of room to eat, play games, and it's kind of cool. So they use this like tracking technology. So you get there, you have to register your name and everything like that. And then when you go there with your party, they say, okay, I'm getting Jack's ball for you, and they hand you your ball, and then they hand, because there's a number corresponding to you. Then they say, okay, now I'm getting Dan's ball. Who's Dan? Here you go. Here's your ball, and all four people. And then it's different, and then you putt in by yourself until you get in the hole. So if I go and it takes me 8 shots to get in the hole, I take them 8 shots consecutively. If I get a hole in one, great, on to the next person, because it counts your strokes for you. But it's a little bit different, so that you essentially want more points. And there's bonus points, there's all different super kind of fun things. I don't want to tell you guys too much, but it's a great time. You get randomly assigned it. When you make your reservation, you can do more than just one at a time, which I would recommend doing it ahead of time, because then you get 50% off your green fees. But all things considered, it's about $15 slash $15.50 per person to do 9 holes. And then they have a really nice size bar slash like dining room area to eat. My one thing I wasn't super thrilled about, they have a relatively small menu, but for the most part it's pretty standard bar food. I got a wrap, my wife got a burger, and then my brother and his girlfriend, they both got flatbread pizzas. But they have cheese curds, french fries, they have all the fixings, and a nice full service bar as well. So I totally recommend it. And then we almost did this, but we didn't. Like I said, being located right at the Southdale Center, if you're feeling like there's not enough options on there for you, you can definitely golf, and you can go to any other restaurant near it. But yeah, it's a really cool time. It's a really fun time. I really want to go back, and I would recommend anybody else go and check it out. So go check out puttshack.com. Didn't even look. Are they on social media? Hopefully they are, because then I can take them. Yes, they are. They are on Instagram, TikTok, perfect, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So go check them out. Once again, tell them the mini weekend sent you. And the last thing, for your first time showing, they told me this too, they recommend you getting there 15 minutes early, so that if you don't pre-register, you can register there, and you can kind of take your time getting to know kind of the outline and outlay of everything. Yeah, super fun area. Go check them out. Yeah, but moving right along, for the NHL and the Wild, there's really no new news on the Wild. Right now, just a little bit ago, the Oilers scored, what's his name, Kasperi Kapanen scored in overtime for the Oilers to dispatch of the Golden Knights to advance to the Western Conference Finals. They are currently waiting for the winner of the Jets and Stars series before that gets underway, and they're the only one so far. Dallas is currently up on the Winnipeg Jets 3-1, and they are playing tomorrow night, Thursday. And then, yeah, Florida, like I said, is up 3-2 on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Carolina Hurricanes are up 3-1 on the Washington Capitals. There's not really any team in here that I'm like super pulling for. So this week, on our Truthfully segment for this week, man, I thought long and hard about this one, but I got a good feeling about it, so we're just going to get into it right now. So like I said, tying both segments, two of our segments together. I got the Florida Panthers winning Game 6 in a couple nights here over the Toronto Maple Leafs, ending their season. Truthfully, I believe this summer the Maple Leafs will trade one of two players, William Nylander or Mitch Marner. On top of that, I believe Austin Matthews will ask them to be traded. And here's why. After doing some research, I believe that's going to happen. Unless a miracle happens, I don't see it happening, but unless a miracle happens and they're able to make it to the Stanley Cup final, one of those two top guys, they're going to trade to try shake things up. And then on top of that, Matthews is going to be like, yo, I think I need a change of scenery, because this would be the 6th year in a row. So in the last 6 years, this would be their second time winning the division, and 6 straight time that they finished in the top 3 and did not get past the conference semifinals. Now, you may be saying, Jack, that's more of a testament to the team playing, the team not producing, than it is, management problem and everything like that. And yes, I get that. But I think if you're the Maple Leafs, you got to change something. So they're probably going to dump one of those guys to try bring somebody else in. But with that happening, I think Matthews is going to have some come to God conversation and be like, you know what? I love it here. It's really nice. You guys have treated me really well. I think I need a change of scenery. And the Maple Leafs, I could be looking at possibly starting to rebuild next year. So, like I said, that's what I think is going to happen. It'd be really amazing to see the Maple Leafs, because I really do like Austin Matthews. I think he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal talent. He is one of the reasons right now that they haven't won. He can't seem to buy himself a goal. It's not because of lack of trying. He's just not getting good looks, and he's just not getting it done. But yeah, truthfully, at the end of the day, Mitch Marner or William Nylander is going to get traded, and Austin Matthews is going to request a trade from the Toronto Maple Leafs after they lose in Game 6 to the Florida Panthers. So that's what we have for Truthfully. So yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I think of the 4 remaining teams, I would say the team I would probably want to see win the most would honestly probably be the Carolina Hurricanes. Capitals is going to be tough for them to come back at this point. I'd love to see Toronto win the entire thing, but they have a uphill battle. Don't really want to see the Jets or Stars win. I wouldn't mind seeing the Oilers win. I really wouldn't mind seeing them win, but everybody's been wanting them to win for so many years. Yeah, it's really the only two teams I don't want to see win. I hope whoever wins the Jets and Star series loses to the Oilers, and that the Oilers at least make the championship, because I would hate to see the Jets and Stars even playing for a Stanley Cup. Would not like that one bit. If the Edmonton Oilers get all the way back to the Stanley Cup championship and they don't win it 2 years in a row, something might be happening in Edmonton as well. Yeah, and then on to the NBA playoffs. Just a little bit ago, for Minnesota Timberwolves, second team to stamp their Western or their conference finals appearance. The Pacers were obviously the first team to do it, as they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games. Excuse me. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I'm kind of surprised. I know the Cavs had like some injuries and everything like that, but I really am surprised that series wasn't close. Not necessarily that it didn't go 7 games, but I thought every single game between those two teams, they were going to be separated by like single digit points every game. Like game 1, the Pacers won by 9 points. Pacers won by 1 in the second. And then after that, everything just went downhill for them. Cavaliers won game, they won by 22, but then the Pacers won by 20, and then 11 again. So this Cleveland team, they had an unbelievable year. It'll be probably hard for them to replicate what they did this year, next year as well. And just like the Timberwolves, both the Timberwolves and Pacers are playing in their second straight conference finals. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Currently the Oklahoma City Thunder are leading the Denver Nuggets 3-2 heading into game 6, and then game 6 between the Knicks and Celtics, New York is leading 3-2. And if I'm being completely honest, I think the Wolves can beat either the Thunder or the Nuggets. For matchup reasons, I would probably rather see the Nuggets again, just because I think matchup-wise with Chet Holmgren, their wings, SGA being the free throw merchant he is, I think they... I mean, like I said, I started by saying this. We can beat either of these teams. We beat the Nuggets 4-0 in the regular season and split 2-2 with the Thunder. Both of us won home and away and lost home and away. Now, obviously being the 6th seed, where both of them would have home court advantage over us. But yeah, I think we're capable of winning either team, but regardless of who we see, we have to do a better job of closing out games. Going into the fourth quarter, we were leading them by 21 points. 21 points. And the Warriors were able to get it to, I think the closest they got in the fourth was 9 points. But still, I'm not saying you need to beat this team, because whether people want to admit it or not, I know Steph Curry wasn't in there, but this team is better defensively with Steph Curry off the court. This team is still good. Jimmy Butler, as much as I hate to admit it, is a great player. He's old and just didn't look like himself, but that makes me happy. But I mean, these guys fought. You could tell in Pajemski's face, in Moody's face, all those guys, they were fighting, to win this game. Like, they really thought they could win it up until the final, 30 seconds? 25 seconds, something like that. So that's the thing. Like, that's one of the things that not having home court in a series does to you. And I know we didn't have home court against the Lakers, but the Thunder or Nuggets aren't the Lakers. They're going to be playing more players than the Lakers did. And they match up a little bit better. I think matchup wise, like I said, Thunder match up a little bit more even. We have more of the advantage in that. But the Nuggets have Jokic and all that kind of fun stuff. If nothing else, I'm really hoping that this series goes to game 7, because that would give us, I think I counted it yesterday, 5 games of days of rest. Because, so yeah, let me do this with you guys right here. So Thursday, Oklahoma and Denver are playing. So yeah, so Thursday, when Oklahoma and Denver play, if Oklahoma would play, the earliest the series with us and them would start is May 18th. However, May 18th would be game 7, which means the earliest our series would start would be the earliest would be May 20th. So we get 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th off, which would be awesome to kind of get our shit together, figure out how to close out games better, and just, tighten some things up. I think when we play our brand of basketball in our games, I don't think there's anybody that we can't beat. And especially you look at the teams left in the playoffs, when we're playing our brand of basketball, there is literally nobody we cannot beat. The unfortunate part about looking at records and standings and everything is, at this point, whether we play the Thunder or Nuggets, or whether we play the Pacers, Knicks, or Celtics in the championship, the rest of the way we are playing against home court advantage, which we've shown 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 times already that we can win on the road. As they say in the playoffs, each win gets that much harder to win. Game 16, that was the hardest to win. So, first they got to get to 9, and then hopefully we can see them get all the way to 16. So, should be a very, very fun couple of days. It'll be kind of weird not having the Wild or the Wolves to watch for at least a couple days. We'll at least have the 15th, 16th, and off, maybe the 17th. The earliest, I'm guessing, if the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to take care of them tomorrow night on Thursday, our series would probably start Friday the 16th or Saturday the 17th. So yeah, hopefully it goes 7 games. That's all I really care about at this point. The last thing I wanted to talk about in the NBA, the NBA draft lottery this year was clearly rigged. It amazes me that Dallas got the number 1 pick and San Antonio got the 2nd pick. I don't think somebody reached out, the podcast added this question, but I was talking to somebody about it, and somebody was asking me who would need to get the 1st overall pick for you to genuinely think at least this year's one was rigged. And I didn't even have to say it. I said Dallas, San Antonio. I gave one other team. I said Dallas, San Antonio, or Phoenix. Because if Phoenix got it, that would have been the perfect, okay, you can convince Kevin Durant to stay. You can convince Booker to stay and be able to stay. Try to run it back with the younger guy. But the fact that Dallas got it, I can't help but think that that little son of a bitch, Adam Silver, was like, we need another star to go to LA. If you trade Luka for us, I'll make sure you get that first pick. Which is just complete bullshit. Like, I got nothing against the Dallas Mavericks. I got nothing against the San Antonio Spurs. I have everything against parity. Like, Utah, they're 6th or 5th. At the very worst, Utah should have been the third. Should have been the third. Should have been the third pick in this draft. And I don't know much about the draft lottery, but if there were two things I would change, and if you guys that are listening, if either of these are true, please let me know. But two things need to be happening. There needs to be a third party doing this for the NBA, and each year it should just be randomly selected. Not randomly selected. Like, there should just be a third party doing this that has nothing to do with the NBA. And how they need to do this is, I heard somebody else say this because I think soccer does it. It's once you are mathematically eliminated from with 20 games left, are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. For every win you get after that, you get 2 points. And for every 2 points you get, your chances of getting the number one, you get 2 points towards getting the number one overall pick. So it incentivizes you after you get eliminated to actually win and not just tank and just try, they get the worst record ever. So those are the two things I would do. But yeah, like I said, it's complete bullshit. I don't love that Philadelphia got the third pick, but then I go look at where they finished in the rankings, and they had the first, second, third, fourth, fifth worst record in the NBA. So that one at least, makes sense to me. But now the part of the podcast, the reason why I'm wearing my Blake Cashman boom jersey, and I gotta say I'm excited. There aren't a lot of games on here that alarm me. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Jack, we play we play a lot of tough teams. We do, but most of them we play at home. So Cincinnati, that's the other thing too. Like, our away games, we got to go to Chicago, we got to go to the Chargers, to Detroit, to Green Bay, to Seattle, to Dallas, and to New York. And already those 7 games, like, we should honestly be able to beat Chicago until I see something different from them. Like, Chicago will always be Chicago. We should be able to put up a fight against the Chargers. I think us and the Chargers are pretty comparable. We should be able to beat Seattle. Sam Darnold is a fine quarterback, but if he's not in a quarterback friendly role that he was in last year, he's not going to do well. And then at least the New York Jets. So there's 4 away games that we should, even right now, knowing what we know now, should win. But yeah, just similar tonight, I will go through it for you guys. So if you didn't watch, so kicking off the season, we will be in one of our 4 nationally televised games. We will open up the season on Monday Night Football on September 8th in Chicago for a game against the Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams Chicago Bears, before having a short week to get ready for the Atlanta Falcons coming to US Bank Stadium for the home opener on September 14th. And that will be Sunday Night Football, so, which is pretty crazy. We have 2 primetime games to open up the season, which is pretty crazy, but also, pretty cool. Then week 3, Sunday, September 21st, the Cincinnati Bengals come to town for a noon game. Week 4, Sunday, September 28th, we will be in Dublin, Ireland to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have no idea. Don't ask me, but for some reason we are like beloved overseas. So as much as they're technically home games for Pittsburgh and Cleveland the next week, these kind of feel like home games to me. So when you look at games that, hey, we should win, I'll be completely honest with you guys right now. If nothing else, the Falcons, the Steelers, Cleveland, Chicago at home, Green Bay at home, Seattle on the road, New York on the road, Dallas, I like us beating them. And then honestly, the Chargers. I mean, those are 9 games right there that, even knowing what we know right now, we should win. But yeah, so should be an interesting game. That week 4 one will be at 8:30 Central Standard Time, and then week 5 they will take a small trip to London for a game in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against the Cleveland Browns. And then after having 2 straight abroad games, we will have yet another early bye week. I don't love the early bye week for us, but after being overseas for 2 straight weeks, I mean, it makes sense. And it's also awesome because we have arguably right now on paper the toughest home game of the season, Sunday, October 19th, when the defending champions come to US Bank Stadium for the Philadelphia Eagles for a noon game. And then in week 8, we will have our third primetime game as we'll have a short week and kick off week 8 with the Los Angeles Chargers in LA for Thursday Night Football. And then after that, we will get a mini bye week coming into week 9 as we will be going to Detroit for a noon game. Week 10, we'll see the Baltimore Ravens coming to town. So again, another tough team to beat, but it doesn't seem as scary trying to beat them at home in US Bank Stadium as it is going to Baltimore and beat them out there. Week 11, we're hosting Chicago for the 3rd straight noon game. Week 12, we travel to Green Bay for another noon game. And then the 13th will be our 2nd straight away game in Seattle, a reunion against Sam Darnold. And that will be an afternoon game. Week 14, we will be hosting the Washington Commanders at noon. The second game I really want to see, the first one I really want to see in person is the Cincinnati game. Those 2 games are going to be lit. And then wrapping up the season, week 15, we go to Dallas for Sunday Night Football, second Sunday Night Football of the year. Week 16, we will be in New York for a noon game. Week 17 on Christmas on Netflix, we will be hosting the Detroit Lions. And then week 18 is a TBD flex game. It's going to be either on January 3rd or 4th, I think I saw, and we'll be hosting the Green Bay Packers. So that is how our schedule is going to look out. And truthfully, I don't want to get into too many predictions here because there's not a lot that we know. Rookie mini camps have barely just started. But like I say, I look at this, and really the only question, I said it earlier, the only question around this team is what kind of quarterback is JJ going to be in his rookie season? He didn't get drafted, but I think he should be eligible for Rookie of the Year because it's technically his first year playing in the NFL. And if he can hit the ground running like he is projected to do, honestly, the sky is the limit for this team. I mean, our defense arguably got better. Like, our defense did get better than last year. Our defensive line got better. We beefed up our offensive line. We got a solid running back too in Jordan Mason. We addressed our offensive line in the draft as well as in free agency like we did. This team all around is going to be a little bit different, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but the talent is there. So again, when I say knowing what we know right now, I'm saying, let's take a look on paper because, I mean, to have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison as your 1-2, and then you got Jordan Naylor, you got Rondale Moore, who's very fast, and then Ty Felton. Like, again, on paper, that should be a pretty solid, one of the best, if not the best, top wide receiver rooms in the game. So yeah, like I said, it should be a really, really fun season, obviously. So I got it right. I thought we were going to start the season at home. I didn't think that we would be playing anybody in the division. And weirdly enough, half of the games in week 1 are our divisional matchups. And then for our other predictions, none of them went the way I thought we did. We get arguably the worst matchup possible to kick off the season with Dallas and Philadelphia. Ugh. And then again, Kansas City going to Sao Paulo with the Chargers that week. So little shock there, and then obviously could not have been more wrong about not playing overseas. But apparently this is part of Roger Goodell's like master plan of eventually having like 18 weeks and having teams going over for more games before eventually like putting teams over there. I don't know how soon that's going to happen, but I think Goodell really wants that to happen sooner rather than later. So yeah, go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Feel free to reach out with any questions. You guys, like I said, if you have any questions or topics you want us to talk about, please reach out and we will not only address them or answer them, but we will also shout you out on the podcast as well. And make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube and on your podcast listening site to get notified of the newest episode as soon as it comes out. So with that, till next time, Minny.